All right, folks, we are back to break down the Q1 2026 XRP Ledger report. Yes, price is down. We're not going to hide that fact. We're not going to shy away from it. But what I want to bring to your attention is the growing adoption, utility, and the metrics and data that we can put in front of us today to make the real bull thesis on why XRP is still going to be one of the best performers this bull run. So if you guys are new here, my name is Zach Rector. We cover current events, financial markets, and how to take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. We greatly appreciate your support. If you like what we're doing here, if you could just like these videos, share them out far and wide. And then for the new folks that are looking for community resources, whether it be exchange, wallets, any of that stuff, or if you want to get into our private community, we do a Discord weekly call every Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Just wrap that up. That can all be accessed at my website, zachrector.com. But let's get into it. So price was down about 27% on the quarter. This is right in line with the rest of the market as well too. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB combined were down 23% on the quarter. So XRP was right there as well, down about 27%, right in line with the rest of the market. But here's the difference, is with the metrics that we're looking at on these other chains, right? There's no activity on Bitcoin to speak of, right? And when you look at the data points across the others, it does not compare to what we saw happen on the XRP ledger. First and foremost, the ETF flows, right? The ETFs tell us the true story of institutions wanting to get exposure to XRP. Now, we closed off Q1 with 775 million XRP parked in the XRP ETFs. I've been telling you guys that we're quickly approaching over 1% of the total XRP supply being behind these XRP ETFs. For those of you guys who don't know, the spot ETFs and even some of the basket and index ETFs actually buy real, physical XRP to back those ETFs. One share of an ETF might equal 10 or 20 XRP. That's how a lot of them are structured right now. But we're quickly approaching over 1% of the total supply. And that number, 775 million XRP, is over 1.26% of the entire circulating supply. And this brings us to how XRP gets such dramatic jumps is we look at that available float, right? A lot of people are saying XRP can't go up that much. 100 billion tokens, over 60 billion circulating supply. But when you really dive into what's the available float or what could actually be purchased on the market today, that available float is not 60 billion XRP, and we know that for sure. Now, the distribution amongst the XRP ETFs is good. We have the Canary Capital leading with 197 million, Bitwise right behind it at 195 million, and then Bitwise actually grew its holdings 47% on the quarter. Franklin Templeton at 160 million, and 21 shares at 106 million. Now, this is meanwhile, Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs actually saw outflows. Right, you're talking about real distribution here, and this is just getting started. I actually expect, just like JP Morgan predicted, 4 to 8 billion of inflows into the XRP ETFs year one. We still have some time to finish up and approach that number. Right, the Canary Capital went live, I believe it was September, or maybe that was October. Right, it wasn't. Maybe it was the rec. There's a few. It was like a staggered launch, but anyways, I mean, until we really, finish off this year, we won't have the full picture of how the year one XRP ETF performance went. But so far, we're on track to be hitting those numbers. And remember, the XRP ETFs launched at the end of the bull run, and it's been nothing but capitulation since October in the digital asset space. And so just to finish this point on the ETFs, acknowledge the fact that the inflows are still coming into the XRP ETFs. And the same can't be said for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the other ETFs. Now, the next data point that I want to put in front of you guys is the explosion that we saw in real-world asset tokenization on the XRP ledger, right? Price down, tokenization exploded, up 124% in Q1, with the RWA market cap on the XRP ledger now reaching 2.25 billion. Now, this actually climbed the XRP ledger. If you look at DeFi Llama, XYZ, some of the other platforms that track these stats, we jumped from the 7th spot to now into the 4th spot for the amount of tokenized real world assets on our chain. Now, there's two different types of RWAs on blockchains, and there's an important distinction to make right here. So there's what's called distributed RWAs. These are tokens that you can actually hold and move yourself. And that grew 35% to 451 million, with names like Ondo's tokenized treasuries, Open Eden's T-bill vault, Guggenheim's commercial paper. Right, we're getting a lot of the diversity of RWAs on chain, right? Plus a wave of Brazilian credit instruments. And then with represented RWAs, the record-keeping layer, where platforms like Mercado Bitcoin alone have issued 244 of them. So this is the tokenization of everything happening in real time on the ledger for everybody to see if you're paying attention. And the problem is not a lot of people are paying attention, right? They're focused on price down. Who cares about crypto? I'm giving up on XRP. XLM just pumped. Let me full port my XRP bags to XLM and go chase green candles. But XLM can't report that their RWA exploded by this much in Q2, right? Now, by the way, respecting the XLM pump, I don't want to take away and distract from what we're trying to get across here. Love the XLM pump. Go pump it. We respect the pump, right? But what you're seeing right here is real utility is starting to drive price action. I mean, the DTC announcement of using Stellar and seeing that price action is an exact testament to that. And so this utility that you're seeing on the XRP ledger, the tokenization that you're seeing ramp up on the XRP ledger will lead to price action. And I'm going to be breaking this down more in depth on a video next week where I explain how more tokens come into the XRP ledger drive demand for XRP. As issuers come to the XRP ledger, they need to build out liquidity. So they build out liquidity pools with their asset and XRP, meaning they need to buy XRP. It drives demand for XRP to build liquidity for your RWA on the XRP ledger. And one of the many reasons, but one of the more popular reasons why people come to the XRP ledger is for liquidity, and that continues to be the case. Now, speaking of liquidity, RLUSD and stablecoins continue to grow on the XRP ledger, and RLUSD, this is massive, closed Q1 with 340 million on the XRP ledger, and that was up 45%. And this is the largest stablecoin on the XRP ledger by far. But when you combine it with the RLUSD issued on Ethereum, you are at 1.3 billion. Now the 10th largest stablecoin overall. And I think it has a chance of going to that number one spot. You guys let me know in the comments if you like that prediction or if you think that that's possible for RLUSD to surpass USDC and even Tether to become the number one stablecoin. But the reason why I love the data point from Q1 here, this was the first quarter where RLUSD grew more on the XRP ledger than Ethereum. This has been a big hurdle in people's reasoning and trying to understand why is Ripple issuing more RLUSD on Ethereum than XRP. That was a temporary deal as they launched. All of the liquidity, there's more liquidity on Ethereum than XRP ledger right now. To bridge that gap, you issue RLUSD on Ethereum and on the XRP ledger. Just like Tether is issued on dozens of chains, same with USDC. Any major issuer of a stablecoin is going to want to see their asset issued on multiple chains. So that's big. And it allows us to bridge that liquidity back to the XRP ledger. And I think you're starting to see that. I mean, this is not speculation or me just trying to hype you up and say, don't worry, guys. Let me give you some feel-good content. It's just data. This is the first quarter where RLUSD grew more on the XRP ledger than Ethereum. I love that. And I hope that that's the start of a trend that continues. With over 46,000 unique RLUSD holders versus 7,800 on Ethereum, there's a lot more people with exposure to RLUSD on XRPL. And what's important to understand is that RLUSD is plugged now into the complete infrastructure that Ripple now has, right? Payments, custody, tokenization, stablecoins, liquidity, prime brokerage, all of it. And you have to understand, this is so important. Go watch some of the content that I've done on why RLUSD does not take away from the value of XRP. It actually expands. It's complementary. Because what RLUSD is doing is taking flows of liquidity that would otherwise not be on any blockchain at all, and it's bringing them to the XRP ledger. That's what we want. Now, The last thing that I want to discuss with you guys on this Q1 report that came out is the growing utility. Average daily transactions jumped 35% to 2.48 million. Remember, every one of those transactions burns XRP. I'm actually be going through a little thought process on how the agentic economy and AI agents transacting on the XRP ledger, along with growing institutional adoption, is set to dramatically increase that burn rate. Is that alone enough to create a scarcity supply shock and pump XRP to all of your dreams and wishes coming true? Not in and of itself, but it's something that I'm watching. I think a lot of people are underestimating, especially with the AI agents. You're not just talking about people using the XRP ledger, autonomous agents doing deals as well too. But the daily transactions jumping 35%, that's good. And the roadmap that we have on the XRP ledger is setting us up for a fantastic second half of this year. So we're rolling out the native lending protocol, that's XLS 66. It is in voting right now. That will allow you to lend and borrow against XRP directly. A brand new use case for the XRP Ledger token on the XRP Ledger. Love that. And then we also went live with permission DEX, permission domains, and token escrow, which adds a lot more utility on the token side for those RWAs that issuers are going to bring to the XRP Ledger. Token escrow wasn't possible. Now it is. Right? So you can bring your RWA to the XRP Ledger, but then you can also lock it up in an escrow to provide, predictability, to bring kind of a reputation, a standard, and predictability to what you're going to be doing with your RWA, similar to Ripple, right? That escrow that they've done gives us that predictability and confidence that we know we're not just going to get dumped on. The same thing's now possible for token issuers on the XRP Ledger. And then with permission domains and DEX, we haven't seen that go live really at scale yet, right? It is now here. It's live. It's available. But when the Clarity Act passes and these institutions can fully unlock themselves, this is where they're going to show up, right? They're going to be building out those liquidity pools, like I said, between their asset and XRP in these permission domains in the permission DEX, where they know they're not in a liquidity pool with a bad actor on the other side. It's absolutely necessary for institutional adoption, and this would be another box that the XRP Ledger can check off in our roadmap of getting ready for Clarity Act, full US market unlock, and being ready to capture that opportunity. Now, the other one too is the compliance and identity rails. It's all built in there. The other one is privacy coming to the XRP Ledger. Confidential transfers using zero knowledge proof are coming here soon, with smart escrows and real programmability in development as well too. So this puts together our full DeFi roadmap for the XRP Ledger. I've been talking about it. Everybody's sleeping on it. Nobody's paying attention to it. XRP holders, I really don't even think are grasping how big it's going to be. And people outside of XRP don't have a clue. They're going to be blindsided when they realize, oh, wow, XRP is not just a banker's coin that you sit and hold and do riddles all day with. It's a coin that you can put to work in DeFi and then with the centralized offers that are coming as well too. On the business side, Ripple got conditional OCC approval for their National Trust Bank in the United States, picked up more licenses in the UK, Luxembourg, and Singapore. And then Rakuten went live in Japan as well too. That was another big one with 44 million users in Japan now having access to spend XRP across 5 million merchants in Japan. Real adoption. Okay? And this is the real adoption. This is the real fundamentals that lead to price action, which is why all of this matters to you. Whether you already have a bag of XRP or you're considering it, these are the fundamentals that I'm looking at for right now. When I look at every other project, I'm not seeing this level of growth, adoption, and specifically institutional adoption. Don't take my word for it. This isn't hyperbole. This is data. The ETF inflows still coming into the XRP ETFs are a testament to that. So price was down, fundamentals were up across the board. ETF accumulation continues, 2.25 billion of RWAs now on the XRP ledger. Don't dare call it an explosion. That might be too much clickbait. And a 45% jump in RLUSD and more RLUSD on the XRP ledger than Ethereum. 35 more transactions per day on the XRP ledger, and the institutional roadmap and DeFi roadmap really getting finalized, and the progress that we've made significant. This is exactly the kind of quarter that separates the people who watch the chart and stay distracted and those who take advantage of the downward price action to invest with conviction based off of these fundamentals that you take the time to research. Or maybe you don't take the time to read the report, but you come to my YouTube channel to watch the full breakdown where I simplify it, make it easy to understand so that you can make informed decisions when it comes to your investments. So if you guys appreciate our content and what we do here, I just ask that you absolutely smack that thumbs up. Or if you don't like it, just smack the thumbs down for me and leave a nice comment down below. We really do appreciate that. And I wanted to let you guys know, if you're still looking for a platform to get your retirement funds into digital assets, we have you covered. Our sponsor, iTrust Capital, has the IRA product available. They also have rolled out the premium custody account and the treasury account for your business, trust, nonprofit. But I wanted to let everybody know we've had a lot of new account signups. A lot of people have gone to the link down below. They've signed up. And I'm looking at my data for the month of May. A lot of people signed up, but a lot of people haven't finished the process of funding your account. And so I'm nudging you today to remind you, if you've already signed up, but you haven't funded your account, you don't get that $100 funding bonus until you actually fund the account. So take the final steps to do so, get that $100 funding bonus, use my link down below, and they will take care of you with US-based customer support and free institutional grade custody. Everything else is at my website, zachrector.com. Go have a fantastic weekend. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.